Thank you. Hello. You're late. Come on. I was talking to Ray Parker Jr. You know who he is? Yeah. Who are you gonna call? Don't Haggis the Hoff. He said, who are you gonna call Ghostbusters is almost as famous as Don't Hassle the Hoff. Actually, he wrote that song and he told me his story that's pretty amazing. That they were only gonna put it in the movie for 20 seconds and they thought Ghostbuster wasn't gonna be a big hit. And you know what else? They thought Knight Rider wasn't gonna be a big hit. It's true. What's the theme of Knight Rider? That's right. And you know what? That they say that Don Peake and Glenn Larson actually wrote that, but they didn't. That actually came from a sonata from the 1800s. It was actually written by some classical artists. I'm not even sure where they were from, but it was many, many years ago, and it was online, and they found it, and they made it part of the show. But the theme of Knight Rider is one man can make a difference, right? Well, you made a difference. You made a difference in my life, because you made a difference. One man, one woman, one person can make a difference. It's probably going to be the new title, because you made a difference in my life, and hopefully I can make a little bit of difference in yours. Ray Parker just made a difference in my life because he told me that they never thought Ghostbusters was going to be a hit. So he retained all the publishing. They thought Knight Rider was going to be a flop. And I got the script, and the script was glowing in my hands. And I couldn't believe how great it was. And I called my dad and I said, Dad, I was on a series called The Young and the Restless, right? And I quit because I wanted to go to Broadway. And along comes Knight Rider, and it lands in my lap. And I said, Dad, it's a great script. He said, what's it about? I said, it's about a talking car. And my dad says, have you been drinking? And I said, no. He said, maybe you should start. You left The Young and the Restless. I was making a lot of money back then to do Knight Rider. And I said, well, what, are you going to audition for it? I said, yes, I have a screen test for it. Well, I got so nervous that I blew the screen test. I wasn't good enough for Michael Knight. But Glenn Larson, who created most of the shows, the A-Team, Airwolf, Knight Rider, the Bionic Woman, the Bionic Man, the $6 Million Man, and Magnum, and Quincy, oh my God. He passed away just recently. He called me up and he said, what about that last guy? That David Hasselhoff, he looks good. And they said, yeah, but he's got a fat face. I have a fat face. You know why? Because I just come from a bachelor party and I've been drinking. And I wasn't in shape, so I went to a steam room. And I found a girl that she was quite heavy and she just wanted to be an actress and she couldn't figure out how to believe in herself. So she read a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which means if you see it and you believe it, you could live it. You have to see it, believe it, and you will live it. She told me this, and so I went, wow, I just auditioned for Knight Rider, and they said, they're gonna call me back, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get a call back or not. And she said, go read this book. So I did. And I read this book, and it was about believing in yourself, keeping a positive attitude, and never giving up. It sounds really corny, but it was called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And it changed my life. So you know what I did? I got on my answering machine back in 1982. when the first cell phones were invented, right? Back in 1982, people would call you and you would say, "Hi, it's David Hasselhoff, call me back, I'm not home." So I said, "Hi, this is Michael Knight, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back." And I made everybody call me Michael. My dad had been calling me Michael since I was young. My middle name is Michael, David Michael Hasselhoff. So he was calling me Michael anyway when I was young. My first big present that I loved more than life itself was a go-kart. I used to drive the go-kart around and make jumps. How prophetic was that? I was in the 8th grade and I got a go-kart and I went, awesome! I drove like a maniac and suddenly I became the driver of Knight Rider. But I made everybody call me Michael Knight because I believed in the show so much. And I said, "Dad, it's about a talking car." And he said, after he said, "Have you been drinking?" I said, "No." I said, "It's about James Bond in America with the best, coolest car." And guess what? 30 years later, we're still talking about it. And guess what? All that's come true. And guess what? All the cars talk now. And they drive themselves. And they have schematic blueprints all over the cars. And the Teslas are all computers like KIT. And everything that they invented, I think his name was Sheffield. What was his first name who invented the cars? Does anyone know? What was his name? Michael Sheffield. Michael Sheffield designed the car. He was in college and he had a contest to see who could draw and create the greatest, coolest car. So he did it. He drove it. Now the Formula One wheel in a Formula One car looks just like the KIT car. It's the T. It looks just like the KIT car. I had my own team for a while in IndyCar racing, and so I followed Formula One for a minute. Anyway, so the bottom line was, I read this book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and I went back to work on Knight Rider to audition for the second time around, and I was still nervous. So I said, "Give me a second. Just give me 1 second." So I walked outside and I said, "I am the Knight Rider, I am the Knight Rider, Michael Knight, come on! Don't lose this, you're here for a reason. You deserve to be here. You know what it takes, you're gonna make this show great." And I walked in and I said, "Roll cameras." And I got it. Because I believed in myself, and I believed that I was the Knight Rider. And that's why I love coming, believe it or not, I love coming to Comic-Cons. You know why? Because it's the first chance sometimes people get to actually dress up and be themselves and find somebody else who looks just like them, or find somebody else who's a Knight Rider fan, or find somebody else who's a fan of Street Hawk, or find somebody else who watched Ghostbusters, or watched E.T., or find somebody else dressed as a unicorn because a girl's following me around dressed as a unicorn, or find people that are like so obsessed with Game of Thrones, they find other people, or Harry Potter, oh my God. I mean, I've been to contests where they play, what's the game they play in Harry Potter? Huh? Widget. What? What is the name of it?
Quidditch.
We are separated by a common language. They were playing that game. I mean, they were actually playing that game. And they were like, it was awesome. Because it was a chance for people that sometimes sit at home and are afraid to go out because people make fun of them. I met a boy that gave me a package about this thick. And he came up to me and he said, "Hi, I'm in my room and I'm a little bit of autism, so kids make fun of me at school, so I stay at home. And here, I wrote a critique on every Knight Rider." He wrote a review of every Knight Rider. So I was in my room I was doing pantos. You know the pantos? I did a panto, I play Off the Hook. "Don't you just love me?" "No, you don't." "Yes, you do. Come on." And I would say, "I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me." And I was saying, hooked on the feeling of high on the... Long story. I did 7 of them. I broke all the attendance records in Bristol and Nottingham and Wimbledon and Glasgow. Yeah! Where I became a Partick Thistle fan. I'm so sorry if you don't know who Partick Thistle is, you haven't lived. They're one of the oldest football teams in your country. And the joke is, when's a Partick Thistle game? When people show up. Ha ha ha. But you know what? I support them and I believe in them because the people that support Partick Thistle, even though they haven't had the greatest record, are really nice people. And they made fun of them in my panto, so I support them. Anyway, I did Knight Rider because of this book, because I believed in myself, because the theme of Knight Rider was one man can make a difference, and it's about saving lives. It's not about taking lives, and it's about helping each other. And that's what Comic-Cons are about. It's about a chance for all of us to come together, hang out, and laugh. I laughed so hard today. I was just talking to Rex Smith from Street Hawk. He's from the same area that I'm from in Atlanta, Georgia. And Ray Parker Jr. was worried about his house, because my house is right in the middle of those fires, right in the middle of the fires. They have closed down the freeways, they have evacuated everyone. All the animals in the neighborhood are dying. A lot of the wildlife is dying. Some of luckily my dogs and my bird, well, unfortunately it's a long story, were killed by wildlife, but the other animals in the area were dying. I have fish, believe it or not, like in a huge tank, were dying, and they couldn't get in to save them because the power had gone off and nobody would allow you to go back. And now I'm reading, have you read the stories about some of the people that were killed? They were in their cars. I mean, how lucky are we? We're lucky to be alive. We're lucky to have each other, you know? And we're really unlucky to have a president like we have in America. Because you know what? It's a campaign based on fear, based on anger, and based on self-worth. And it's really sad because that's what America is not about. It's not what Knight Rider is about. It's not what you guys are about. You came to see me. I'm here to say hello, and I feel really great. You know, and the girl was going to interview me, and I just walked out, and you guys all jumped up. It was great. That happens to me everywhere around the world. You know what I got from so many men today? You're my childhood hero. How cool is that? Yeah, I get that all over the world. The weird thing is when you go into a Thai restaurant, they go, "You're my hero." I say, I like the pad thai noodles and the pineapple rice. And they go, "You're from Hong Kong? Oh, great. You're from Thailand? Well, that's great. You guys are crazy for me." I know. It's crazy there. Yeah, I know, it's amazing. And honest to God, I've stopped in Thailand before. And just as a layover, and it was crazy just walking through the airport. The same thing happens to me all over the world. I just did my own talk show in Sweden. We did a show, it's going to be made into a major motion picture. Are you guys aware of Kung Fury? If you haven't seen Kung Fury, look up Kung, K-U-N-G, Fury on your YouTube, and you'll see a little short made by a guy at home who believed in himself, and he was in a little village in Sweden, and he made a thing called Kung Fury. He went on television in America and said, "Hi, my name is David Sandberg, and I come from Sweden, a small village. I made a movie about 20 minutes called Kung Fury, and I need some money to finish it. I need $50,000. He raised $625,000. It was been made into a major motion picture now. I'm going to be in it, and I sang the theme song. Does anybody know the theme song? Yes. 47 million hits on YouTube, which is not that many compared to like, you know, a billion hits. But for me, it's a lot. 47 million hits. It was called True Survivor. And it was written by a man named Jürgen Olsen, who wrote a lot of songs in the 80s for Rick Astley and people like that. He was a huge writer back in the 80s, and he had a lot of #1 hits. And they asked him to write a song. And the guy calls me on the phone, David Sandberg. Hi, is this the Night Rider? Yes, this is the Night Rider, 30 years ago. David Hasselhoff. And he said, have you seen Kung Fury? I said, yes, I've seen Kung Fury on my telephone. I think it's great. You do? Would you sing the theme song? Why not? So I flew to Sweden, I went in the studio, and they came up with a fantastic song called True Survivor. And we made a video. Look it up, you'll love it. It's a great video. Now the movie is being made into an $85 million movie starring Michael Fassbender, David Hasselhoff, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and a few other major stars are going to be in it. And I'm honored to be in it because I told David, hey, this thing takes off, make sure you put me in the movie. And he said, well, how about if you be the Hasselhoff car? And I said, no, call me the Hoff. So I could say lines like, don't hassle the Hoff, or I'll unleash the fury. And so he did. So now I'm the I'm the Hoff 9000. And I'm morphed from a car. Well, you'll see the movie. It's a really cool script, and it's going to be shot sometime in January. And so anyway, if you believe in yourself, you keep a positive attitude, and you never give up, don't give up, man. You know? And reach out to the person who's next to you and don't go, that person looks like a sloth. Go say, hey man, you look cool in that costume. So many people came by today. So many people were wearing Knight Rider shirts with my picture on it. I just want to say you're all going to jail. Because they're all illegal. So what I did was I said, hi, it's my wife from Wales. Take a picture, honey. And I wouldn't take a picture of the person, I'd take a picture of the shirt. And I go back to LA, and instead of like suing I think there's like 500 illegal items on David Hasselhoff, my motto is follow the bootleggers. So in other words, if you came up with a great shirt that you bought online, that has nothing to do with me, or I don't license it, or I don't own it, or I don't make any money, I just take a picture of it and put it out. How do you think I came up with don't hassle the Hoff? Anyway, the Hoff wasn't created by me. It was created by secretaries when I was 50 years old. A few years ago, I was 50 years old. And I got a call saying, how do you feel about being a sex symbol at 50? I said, good. Why? And they said, because there's an epidemic of emails going back and forth through secretaries. In Australia, you're Hoff-tastic, you're Hoff the record, you're Hoff the charts, you're a brave Hoff, you're to Hoffinity and beyond, you're Hoff to see the wizard, you're Hoff-tastic, you're Hoff nuts. I've seen it all. And I said, I think it's pretty great. And they said, well, can we tell you one joke? I said, yeah. A man David Hasselhoff walks into a bar, the bartender says, how are you, Mr. Hasselhoff? And I say, from now on, it's just the Hoff. And the bartender says, no hassle. I thought that was good. So I said, don't hassle the Hoff. And now I've been giving out t-shirts that say, don't haggis the Hoff. I tried to get like 20 more made to throw them out to you guys today, but I couldn't get them in time, so I think I have 2 or 3 left, but I'm going to give them to some of the staff backstage, and I'm trying to take care of some of the people that need attention, the ones who are a bit handicapped. You know what? Do I have any shirts left? Come here, Stefan. This is my buddy Stefan. Okay? that person right there in that wheelchair? Okay, go give him a shirt, huh? Okay, I only have 2 left. But there's a person in a wheelchair out there who looks like she's got cerebral palsy. Hello. And what they are is they're really cool people trapped in a really strange body. They have no control. And I do a lot of work with them and I see her. So here goes Stefan, see? 1, 2, 3. Hey, there's another guy. Give him, here, no, next one. Next person, yep. Hang on, give him that. Now here's the last one, come on down here. Give it to the big guy next to him because he thought it was for him. Don't Hasselhoff. All right, by the way, have you ever had haggis? Who likes haggis? Oh my God! Doesn't it mess up your stomach? It messed up my stomach. So bad, but I loved it. You know, it's kind of like alcohol. I loved it too much. So I quit drinking. I think I'm going to quit eating haggis. Although I hear there's a good vegetarian haggis. No? No. All right, so anyway, believe in yourself, keep a positive attitude, and never give up. And what I tell my daughter is, it's really true. If you see it, believe it, and live it. So she had it tattooed on her arm. I said, I didn't mean for you to have a tattoo. I'll see it, believe it, and live it. That's what I live by. And sometimes when I need some extra money, or I need some extra fulfillment, I'll just sit down and imagine that I'm happy. And I'll imagine that there's money coming in. I'll imagine that things are okay. Sometimes you can't imagine what happens. I can't imagine what happened in California, in the bar that killed so many people. I can't imagine what happened in Manchester to that concert. I've been to Manchester. I did a great show there. I did Peter Pan and the Panto there. I love Manchester. I can't imagine what's happened with the fires. You can't imagine it, but you can try to help yourself. And if you help yourself, and you believe in yourself, and you feel good about yourself, then you can transform that into other people. And you can help others. And sometimes when I feel like really frustrated that I can't do Knight Rider the movie or Knight Rider the TV series, I get really angry. And you know what I do? I go out to the grocery store. People go, I love you, Michael Knight. And they walk by me and they go, I love you. Hi, I grew up watching you. Thank you. I love you. And they, I love you. And everyone's telling me they love me. I go, I feel better. It's so weird. It's so weird, and that's what Comic-Con's about. I was talking to the guy, Sylvester from Doctor Who. You know, he was also in The Hobbit. I knew him from The Hobbit. He's like the coolest guy. He says, I'm almost 80. I love these Comic-Cons. People tell me they love me. And he says, it's great, because people are so sweet. And it's true, you guys are strange because you actually pay money to say hello, and I love you, or thank you, or take a picture with me. And I accept the money graciously because I worked hard for it. And you can't believe how many selfies I take just walking around the city. I used to live on the, is it called the Royal Mile? High Street. Right? So if you go out of the hotel and you turn right, go up the hill, there's a castle, the Hassel Castle. And if you go down the hill, it's Arthur's Seat. And I stayed there because I did the Fringe. Anybody see my show at the Fringe? 4 people. Well, that's good. You know, we did the Fringe twice. I did it once with Scott Mills and my daughters. Just a quick thing at midnight, and then I did my own show. We had a blast here. I mean, I have no idea what you guys are saying. There's a guy wearing a Partick Thistle shirt. Hello. And, but the cab drivers were cool. They said, why do you like Edinburgh? I said, I like Edinburgh for one reason, the cab drivers. I said, you like the cab drivers? I said, no, but they never charge me.
They said, "Your money's no good here, Knight Rider. Come out and take a picture with me." So sometimes I would take a picture, sometimes they would just say, "Great talking to you." No, it's free. I didn't pay for a cab ride. It was crazy. And I came back with my new wife from Wales, and we had a blast walking around. I had a disguise on. I had a hood on, I had a scarf on, a Arctic Thistle shirt, but I had it zipped up. And I was walking around, people going, "Hello, David Hasselhoff." Hello. And I'm going, "Oh my God, how do they recognize me?" And this one newspaper wanted to follow me around for 2 hours, right? And I said, "I'm not going to give a newspaper 2 hours. I'm already famous. I don't need this." And he said, "Well, we need people to come to Comic-Con." I said, okay. I tell you what, I want to come in early. And I said, "Honey, let's just go back to where we did the Fringe and kind of relive our memories." So we went to Arthur's Seat, we went to the castle, we had coffee at the top of the hill. We went to Mary's Close, you know, underground, and we went and we took pictures, like selfies, and we put them on Instagram. And I came back and I said, "I just did 2 hours of The Scotsman on Instagram with my own selfie, and I had a blast. I got to hang out with the people. I got a free coffee from the woman I took the picture with at the top of the mountain. And I went to a cheese shop and they gave me a lot of cheese. So I took a picture with a cheese shop. So you can go to my Instagram and you can go to my Twitter and you can go to my Facebook and you can see a lot of pictures of Scotland. But I was having a great time just being me. Back to Comic-Con. That's what Comic-Con's about. It's about having a great time and being yourself. And that's what America is about. And that's what the world's about. It's about having a great time and being yourself and allowed to be yourself. No matter what your religion, no matter what your race, no matter what, you're allowed to be yourself. And I think that's what's missing in the world today. And I think that the world is full of anger, and the world is full of violence, and the world is full of hate. And that's really stupid, because we're not really here for a long time. And life goes like that. It goes so fast. My girls are grown now, and I can still remember when they were little girls on Baywatch. Ray Parker Jr.'s wife was on Baywatch. I said, "Well, what did you do?" She said, "I played a lifeguard." I have no recollection. But then we started talking, and she said, "You were really nice to me." And I said, "Well, yeah. I mean, why not? We had a blast on Baywatch. We had a blast on Knight Rider. I mean, when I got the role of Knight Rider, I mean, people could hear me scream for 2 days. I was so excited. It was like, you know, I said, "I am the Knight Rider!" And I got the part. And the same people that had me at the audition when the show began was picked up as a series with the same crew. And I walked on the set and they all went, "He is the Knight Rider!" They were all making fun of me, and immediately they became some of my closest friends for many years. And so, the good news is you see it, you believe it, and you live it. And you never give up. And believe it or not, I never gave up on Knight Rider coming back as a movie. And by the grace of God, something strange and very weird and wonderful has happened. And now we're making Knight Rider into a movie. And we're bringing back me and the original kit car and a new cast. And it's in development. And when I say it's in development, remember, Forrest Gump was in development for 20 years. It could be a while, at least a year, but if the movie gets made, it's going to be a great movie because I'm going to be involved. Not that I have to be in it, but I have to kind of put my heart into it. Because me and the car was a star. I was a co-star. But it had my morals, my feelings. I was the one who said, let's make the show about a story. It's got to have heart. It's got to have a story. It's got to have humor. You got to have a dog each week trying to do something to the kid car. Get away from me, you mongrel. And then it's got to have action. Heart, humor, and action. Heart, humor, action. I put them on every script. And that's what we're going to have in the new one. And I've been guaranteed that, but it's Hollywood, and they guarantee you everything. And they're not telling you the truth. It's kind of like politics. They guarantee everything, and then they change. But it's going to be made into a movie. The fact that you guys are applauding is something that happens to me all over the world, and it's happened to me for the last 20 years, because I had the rights for a long time with Glenn Larson. We couldn't get it made. No one cared. No one gave a damn about the 80s or the 90s. Knight Rider was in the 80s, but then we're like in 2018, and people are still wearing Knight Rider shirts. And little kids. I was in Manchester at the Comic-Con. Did anybody see me there? Well, I was in Manchester and the lines were huge. And I said to the guys, if there's nobody in line, come out and say, Mr. Hasselhoff, there's a phone call for you. You must take it and get me out of there. I don't want to be embarrassed. I didn't know if there would be a lot of people. Sometimes there's a lot of people. Sometimes there's a lot of people. I usually get the publicity because I've done a lot of pantos. Been on Baywatch, I know how to work the press, that's fun. But there was a huge line, and I kept saying, this is weird. Why are there so many people wearing Knight Rider shirts? Why do they have babies dressed up in black leather jackets? This is really weird. I kept saying to my wife, who wasn't my wife then, this is weird. She goes, why? Everyone's dressed up as me. Some are dressed up as Baywatch, but most of them are Knight Rider. This is very weird. So I signed all these autographs. I went back to my hotel and I thought, well, great, I had a great day. I drew more than William Shatner, who's a friend of mine. And to draw more than William Shatner is pretty cool. And all of a sudden she goes, honey, you're on TV! And there was an ad for Knight Rider. And then about 5 minutes later, there's another ad for Knight Rider. And then 5 minutes later, we saw 5 ads for Knight Rider. Knight Rider was running again on Channel 5 in Manchester. Did anybody see it on Channel 5? Do you guys get Channel 5 here? Yeah. Channel 5, right? Where'd she go? Where's my wife? I don't know. Anyway, it was on Channel 5, and all these little kids would come in like, hello, Michael Knight. I'm like, I still look like Michael Knight? Yes. I love your show. And guess what show they like the most? What's the favorite episode of everybody who's ever seen Knight Rider? Can anyone tell me?
All of them.
Huh?
All of them.
All of them? Kit versus Car. That's the one. That's number one. What's CAR stand for? Knight Automated Roving Robot. You win a t-shirt even though I don't have any. Knight Automated Roving Robot. And I'm telling you, it's the second most popular show was where I played my evil twin. Remember that show? Garth. My dad calls me and says, yeah, I watched the show where you played your evil twin. He's a better actor than you. That's my dad. My dad loved the tattoo. He never made it. He passed away, but he wanted to go to the tattoo because I went to the tattoo twice. So now I'll bring Haley's family, kind of like my new surrogate family, to the tattoo because it's so great. And the festival is an amazing thing called the Fringe because it gives you everyone opportunity to kind of show off, whether they're happy or funny or musical or politically motivated or trying to help their cause. It gives people a chance. In the same way with Comic-Con. It gives you a chance to dress up and have fun, and you're always going to meet somebody who's weirder than you are. I love this place. It's great. Especially the girl in the unicorn. I wonder if she's here. Are you here? No, you have the same hair as the unicorn. It's blue. Anyway, would anyone like to have a question and answer session? Come on out here. This is our lovely commentator. And anyone have any questions for me? You can translate. Yeah, I want you to translate. Come on.
Sorry about that. I said, it's really impressive all the stunts you used to do. You know, going in the car, standing up like that. That was pretty cool. How did you learn how to do that? You know, the stunts.
How did the car do the stunts?
You did the stunts on the car when you were jumping.
Yeah, when the car went on two wheels. The guy was, we have a left-hand drive in America, right? So over here it's right-hand, but so a left-hand drive, and what he would do is he would go on a ramp, and there'd be a pipe ramp, and he'd go up like this, and then he would balance himself. And there was only one person in the world who could do that at that time. His name was Buzz Bundy, and he was a little man about this big, who wore a terrible Michael Knight wig, and would go, and he would balance the car, and if you were lucky, I was lucky once because they wouldn't let me do it. You could ride with him, and so you could sit and hide in the car. So the car would go, and he'd go, hey, how you doing down there? And he would drive and just balance the car. Does anybody know how the car? I can't reveal all the secrets. The stunt guy who designed the driving and the car, we didn't have. Computers were huge. I held one of the first cell phones. I said, Dad, I'm calling you from Griffith Park, which is like in the middle of a park, right? And he said, well, I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm on a cell phone. It's a gigantic Vodafone. It was this big, with this big antenna. And I was calling him from the park. That was in 1985, 86, I think. Anyway, I can't tell all the secrets. You'll have to watch the movie. But the people that really watched Knight Rider and know Knight Rider know how the car was driving itself. I'll get in trouble. I'm not going to tell you. You have to figure it out.
I'm butting in, you're trying to get secrets. Go back to your secrets.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, sir. Anybody else have any more questions? Can you walk up here? Or just, what is it? You've taken 15 pictures with me and had 19 t-shirts. Yeah, what are you, rich? What is it?
The next tour in Germany is again in the band 94.
Yes.
And from organized.
My next tour in Germany, I just did a huge tour in Germany. It's with a band that looked like they were dead Kiss, like old Kiss rejects, you know, rock and roll. And I hated them. And I met them and I fell in love with them. They were terrific. And I had 3 fantastic background singers. And the tour was a huge success. And we are now booking again. And we're starting on October 3rd in Berlin, which is the reunification of Germany. And then we're starting in Berlin and we're going to Hanover. And then we're going all over Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And hopefully we come here to Edinburgh to do a concert at the Fringe. Because I've spoken to my German promoter and I said, why don't we just warm up at the Fringe and do a show here? I did a show here, I had no idea what to do. And the man, some guy called me, because I'm a reporter from Glasgow. And I'm drunk. I'm drunk because I can't believe I'm calling David Hasselhoff. Anyway, there's only one person who's more popular than you in all of Scotland. And I said, yeah, who's that? Barry Manilow. Well, as a joke, I'll have to do Copacabana. He goes, oh God, if you do Copacabana, then he said something really pornographic. So we did Copacabana, and it was the highlight of the show. So I'm going on tour again in October, starting in Berlin. And the same band.
There's a gentleman here.
Sorry, I have allergies.
There's a gentleman here, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
He's tried a few times.
Yeah, I was like Man of an Electra yesterday, and you're more popular than Paul Berlin Wall. If you make David Hasselhoff Berlin Wall, and then Berlin Wall there.
Can you interpret that? What did he say? You were watching what?
I was on a tablet yesterday, and back to the day. And it basically said you were more popular in the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Most popular where?
You're more popular than the fall of the Berlin Wall, apparently yesterday from Amazon on the Fact of the Day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I actually did a book with Amazon called Up Against the Wall, and I went to East Germany before the wall came down, because when I was I had a song called Looking for Freedom. I've been looking for freedom. I've been looking so long. I've been looking for freedom. Still the search goes on. Anyway, we sold 11 million of those in Germany. The wall came down. And as I was flying to Berlin to do a TV show, I looked down and I saw this amazing 400-kilometer long wall. Looked like a snake. And I went, what is that? They said, that's East Germany. But you can go. They said, you're allowed to go in at 7 o'clock. You have to come back by midnight. So I went, and we just finished a book about my trips to East Germany before the wall came down. And then I sang to 1 million people on 1989 because I believed I could. And it happened. And I got a call to sing on New Year's Eve, and I said, only if I can sing on the wall. And they said yes. And so I went, there was 1 million people. There was a line that was 5 miles long on the, 3 days before New Year's Eve, of people waiting in line to go out from East Berlin to West Berlin. It's like going from, it's even closer than Glasgow. It's like going from, what's the nearest city to Edinburgh?
My geography's awful, somebody help me.
Who lives here? Livingston. It's like going from here to Livingston. You're not allowed to go, but your family lives in Livingston and you can't see them. That's what the wall's about. For 40 years, you can't see them. And so I was able to go in and come out and go in and come out. So we did a book, and we made the book entertaining because we made some of it fiction, which is true, and some of it non-fiction, which is not, wait, no. Fiction is true. Fiction is not true. Not true. Yes. And then non-fiction is the truth. So we did a lot of the stuff in the book is really true. And you'll have to listen to the book because you can't read it. It's not on sale to read. It's on sale to listen to. And you're going to like it a lot. It's very, very well written by a man named David Gordon. And some of my real experiences in Berlin with a spy. And you'll understand why I went to East Germany a lot. And you'll get a good laugh, I hope, out of the book. It has heart, humor, and action. It's called Up Against the Wall. But I'm not more popular than the Berlin Wall. Or maybe
To
I am.
Amazon you are.
Well, I am in Thailand. Any other questions?
We're gonna have to finish after this last question.
Oh, wow, already?
Yeah, I'm really sorry. So
What?
if you want to pick someone...
Is Lou
you
Ferrigno
have to-
coming up next?
No, he's
He
not
talks forever.
finishing.
Who?
We're finishing.
Oh, okay. I'm just kidding. What? No, you can't have a picture with me. What?
Greetings from Marcos parents and Sandy Patchko. She would like to know from new singles that you make.
I'll just tell Marcus I'll call him when I get home. Okay. One more question. Anybody else? What's your question?
Don from Cars of the Stars. I can tell. Hi David, I'm Don from Cars of the Stars, and we're doing a show about Kit and Knight Rider versus the DeLorean from Back to the Future. My question is, I'm just wondering, the Knight Rider theme tune, why do you think it's been so iconic, and do you ever get tired of it at this stage?
No, I never get tired of it. I never get tired of Knight Rider, and Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future was part of my life, and he was a cool guy. Jason Bateman was actually, who was in Ozark just recently, or Game Night. He was on Knight Rider when he was like 10 or 11. I just saw a picture of him in a Knight Rider companion book. I think Knight Rider was so popular because it was actually written back as a sonata. And why would I get tired of it?
It's a cool song. As a matter of fact, I had it on my ringtone once.
It's the most downloaded ringtone in 2005 ever.
What?
It's the most downloaded ringtone. It won an award from BMI for being the most downloaded ringtone ever.
What, really? Is that true? Wow. I get nothing out of that. No wonder Glenn Larson's estate is so big. You know, because he got the publishing on that. Wow, it's the most downloaded song ever. How cool is that? You know, it was actually on my phone. My assistant put it on as a joke. And I had a little run-in with drinking and driving, which is not a good idea. And so I went to class to take care of that. And so I was in the class, and these guys were sitting next to me who looked like they were criminals. They looked like they were criminals because they were criminals. And they said, yeah, man, I've had like 17 DUIs, and you know, a lot of celebrities, they get busted, but they're wearing these pants, you know. They have like Von Dutch on them, you know, and they have like little symbols on them because they give the celebrities the pants. And the celebrities wear the pants because, you know, they get them for free. I was wearing those pants. And these two criminals are sitting next to me, and I'm going, oh my God. I gotta get out of here. It was a driver education class, right? Where they show you all these horrible films. You should really take that because you'll never drink and drive again. And then, my phone rang. And they looked over at me. I went, holy shit, you're the Knight Rider. Yeah, and I'm wearing those pants. And I walked off. And with that, I will leave you. Believe in yourself. Keep a positive attitude.
Some of you might have been here for the entire weekend, from the bottom of everybody at Monopoly events, and to this geek who had her weekend made because her hero gave her a hug and gets how much he means to her. Thank you so much for coming, and have a good